It's time for No Pad Sports Talk. Stay tuned as two brothers bring you the latest from your Michigan teams and beyond in hockey, baseball, football, and more. Let's get started. Here are your hosts, JD and Steve.
Welcome to another edition of No Pad Sports Talk. We are doing a show on the eve of the Lions' first home playoff game in 30 years. I am one of your hosts, JD.
And I am Steve. And, we're super excited. I'm trying to be excited about this game, but there were some things that JD and I were talking about before that I kind of just want to mention. And it's just frustrating to me.
Let it out, brother.
Look, so first thing, Lions fans, I'm a Lions fan. I'm here. I've watched them through the bad years. This has been a great season. I'm super excited about them playing at home, right? JD and I talked about this, about the opportunity, about the probability of the Rams being the team that we're going to play and seeing Matthew Stafford back here in Ford Field against his old team, right? And there was all of this social media stuff that was going on about people, you're not going to be let in if you wear a Matthew Stafford Lions jersey, right? And that hurt. As a Lions fan, that hurt. I understand what they're trying to say, that Stafford isn't here anymore. He's not the guy. I get it. I do. But if you look at what Matthew Stafford did for the Detroit Lions during his time here, all he did was try and win games. Was he very successful at it? Did he have the pieces in place around him? He had one or two pieces here. The thing is, he didn't have this team, right? He didn't have this team. And what he has done for the city of Detroit when he was here, even after he has left, right? And for us as a fan base to sit there and want to downplay everything that he's done, I think it's just wrong as a fan base. Now, like I said, I want you to understand that I get it. He's the enemy this week. I get that. I totally get that. He is definitely the enemy this week. But I do not wish him ill will. Right? I don't. And if I want to wear my Matthew Stafford jersey to a Lions game, then that's what I'm going to do. Now, there was another thing. Someone was actually saying, hey, bring in your Stafford jersey and we'll trade it in for something else. And the NFL came down and said, hey, don't do that. Right? And I'm sure that's because they're taking Stafford jerseys. He's still getting, I'm sure there's a cut someplace, right?
Oh, I'm sure. It has to be.
Right? So, hey, don't do that. You can't do that. All right. Well, I get it. Jerseys are expensive. And if the Matthew Stafford Lions jersey is the only jersey I got, and I got tickets to the playoff game that are already 3 times the cost of every other playoff game this week. Because that's a whole other thing about the Lions and Ford Field and what they've done that I'm super upset about. But 3 times the cost of everywhere else. So, I'm wearing the only jersey I got to represent this team. Right? And if you don't like it, you know what? You know where you can stick it. That's just kind of how I'm going to say about that.
One thing I'll add slightly, right? Sometimes I think people think the name on the back is more important than the name on the front. And it's still a Lions jersey. It's still blue or black.
Honolulu blue.
Whatever.
Yeah, it could be gray. It could be the white. Whatever.
It's still going to be a Lions jersey.
Correct.
So when you're there and you're cheering, the only people that's really going to notice you have a Stafford jersey are those people in the seats behind you.
That's right.
Like the players in the field, all they're going to see is a Lions jersey. They're not really going to know any difference.
Nope.
And you're cheering for that team. I don't know. To me, it just I mean, forget about the person. The person himself, I think, is a really cool guy, and I think he's done a lot for Detroit. And I do believe he gave everything he had while he was here. He wanted to win badly. He wanted the Lions to win.
Yes.
And he did everything he possibly could to make that happen.
Yep.
But even if you take the person out of the equation and just look at it from just an individual standpoint, like, you know, I don't know. But I'm different too. I mean, look, I'm wearing a Texas polo, right,
Yep.
with an Angels backdrop. But
yep.
I'm a fan of the Detroit teams. Like, to me, like, this doesn't mean anything. It's a comfortable shirt. I love it. I wore it when I went to the Texas Rangers stadium. You know, I bought it because I try to buy a shirt and a hat in every stadium I visit.
Yep.
It doesn't mean I love Texas. I don't know. I just like the shirt. But at any rate,
to me, what you do, right? Exactly. You love baseball and everything. That's a memory for you for where you were at.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I know when I got the sweatshirt, right? I know when, like, you'll remember where you got that shirt, the hat, right? The memory of being in that stadium, right? That's, I think, where you and I are different than a lot of other fans, right? Is that we love the sport, right? Because at the end of the day, Matthew Stafford still has buddies on the team.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, they're still going to try sacking him. They're still going to try to intercept him, right? But I mean, they're not going to sit there and like burn his jersey. Like, I mean, I don't know. Some of these people just look at it like, I don't know. I cannot understand what they're thinking. I can't put my head in their headspace. I can't do it.
Well, and exactly, right? So, bottom line is, go enjoy the game, because there's another number 9 that's hopefully going to be playing this week.
He was practicing today.
Right? So, it's a number 9 that we sorely need on the team, I think. You know, especially if Sam Laporta is going to be limited. We're going to need that other guy, right? So, just don't be haters. Get out there, represent the Lions for who the Lions are, and the grit and what this team is trying to show this city and what we are made of.
And for anybody listening to this, if you see someone wearing a Stafford jersey in the stadium, leave them alone, right?
Exactly.
Leave them alone. Don't say anything to them. Just leave them alone. They want to go there. They want to watch the game. Let them watch the game. Don't bother them.
You know, and that's kind of where I was going at with what. Let's show this what the team is trying to build. Show what this team is trying to show what Detroit is about, right? It's not about, like you said, the name on the back. It's about what's the name on the front.
Yeah.
Right? You know, when Army plays Navy, if you ever noticed, Army never has a name on the back of their jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because it's not about the name on the back of the jersey. It's about what they're wearing across the front of their jersey. So just remember that. Leave that person alone. Let them enjoy the game, because we don't know when it's going to happen again. I mean, it's been 30 years since the last one. So, you know, if I have to wait another 30 years, I'm going to be 80.
Yeah.
Right? And if I go in and someone's going to bother me because I'm wearing somebody else's jersey that says Lions on the front and somebody that's not on my team on the back, that 80-year-old self is probably going to get in a fight. It won't be pretty for me, but don't just leave them alone. Leave them alone.
Yeah.
Enjoy the game, because I think the Lions have a fantastic opportunity here to go deep into the playoffs. I really do.
Yeah.
Right? And my other rant, which I'm going to try and keep even on a shorter time, is why are they streaming a playoff game on a streaming service that you're making me buy something else that I don't want to watch one game, and I'm not going to do it. I refuse. So I'm going to miss an extremely good game in a very cold weather environment, which I love. I love the elements. right? Those open air stadiums, you don't see as many of those anymore. And when you get into January and you're playing these games, this is where the rubber meets the road, right? This is going to tell you what kind of team you truly got when you can go out there and it's minus 30 with the wind chill, and you just it hurts just to tap somebody because everything hurts because it's so cold, right?
Yeah.
These are the games that I love, and this is the game the NFL is taking away from me because I am not buying a streaming service that I don't want.
Well, I know you're talking about specifically for the playoffs, but if you want to get real about the whole thing, there's been games streamed on Amazon, been games streamed on Apple TV, and you look at all these individual streaming services that's done it so far, and seriously, how many streaming services would I have to buy in order to watch all of the NFL action?
Right. Now, I do have Amazon Prime because I like watching movies. I pull movies down from there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't watch one Thursday night game for that same reason, though, right? Is because it's not right. If someone can't afford it, now we're missing a game. It should be on. If you're going to show it on Amazon, it should be shown on regular TV for those that want to see the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you make it an exclusive thing like that, you're just taking away the game that so many people like us love.
Yeah, that's right.
So, but that's my 3-minute rant on that. Yeah, there was so much that happened this week in the state about this game. And the last thing, all I'm going to mention is the Imagine Theater. They wanted to show the game on the big screen, right? And it was for free, and the NFL said they couldn't. Now, this is the thing my brother and I talked about, and I get it. I get the copyright stuff. I understand that even though they're going to show it for free and you're getting in for free, they're still selling popcorn. They're still selling food. They're still selling beverages. So they're still going to make a lot of money on the fact that they're going to show that game. So I get it. I understood that business side of it. This is exciting for the state, right? And maybe this is one of those times where it might have been easier to ask for permission to say, hey, this is what we want to do, and maybe bargain with like the NFL to do that so they set up something, right? So maybe some of those proceeds go to some NFL charity or whatever that might be, right?
Sure.
But, had that happened, that's great. But bottom line is, they couldn't do that either. So I'll be watching this game at my house, which is fine because I'm super comfortable in my house because I can yell, jump, rant, throw my hat, eat whatever I want, right? And I can do it from the comfort of my home.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. The NFL is as big as they are, and it's never enough.
I think that's the biggest thing, is just that they just keep taking and taking and taking. Wanting more and more and more.
Because, these TV contracts, they're getting bigger. That's why, it used to. Do you remember when Fox got into and they actually got the broadcast rights for sports? Because otherwise it was ABC, CBS, and NBC. That's where the games were. ABC was always Monday Night Football, right?
Yeah.
NBC and CBS split the other games.
Yeah.
Right? And then Fox came around back in the 80s, right? And by the early 90s, Fox was, a big deal in football, right? And it has been ever since. So I get that we have to, but that's a broadcast station. That's something that I can plug in an antenna and get, right?
Right.
So the streaming thing, it's all brand new. I understand it's all brand new, but and there's money there because people have these things, but they're going to see I feel like they're going to see a huge dip in viewership for a really good game, a high profile game.
Yep.
Because they're already going to get paid no matter what, because they have this exclusive off rights with NBC and Peacock.
Yep.
So the NFL basically said, we don't care. We're getting ours. That's how I feel.
Now, obviously, look, we know there's workarounds, right? We know that.
Always is. I mean, I could go to the bar, and I'm sure I could watch it at a bar, but I don't want to do that.
No. And I guess that's, just beating people to the punch, right? Like, we know that's a possibility, but that just shouldn't be required, I guess. There shouldn't be a workaround required to watch an NFL playoff game. That's
correct. Because if this game becomes one of those instant classic games that the majority of the fans did not get to see, there's going to be an uproar. Oh, I mean, it's already across social media about having to, because of Peacock and this whole thing. It's already out there.
Yeah.
And if it's one of those instant classic games, then the NFL is going to have something. Yeah. Well, we'll show it on NFL Network after.
Right.
Okay, so now I got to have NFL Network if I don't have that on my, But as an NFL fan, obviously I make sure I get that sports stuff. Or as a sports fan, right? When I get I don't even have cable. I go through Hulu. But I make sure I get the sports package through Hulu. So I
go through Fubo.
And you go through Fubo, right?
Yeah.
So we are already streaming people, right?
Yep.
But when you start adding up, okay, you get Netflix, and then you get Prime, and then you get Paramount, and then you want AMC or Stars or HBO Max, right? Like those $7 things start to add up, and I could go back to cable and get all those channels together. I mean,
I'd never go back to cable. I can't do it.
And I won't either, because I definitely get what I want. And that's the difference, right? When you're streaming, you go and you find the place where you're getting the channels that you want, that you're going to watch. And that's what we have. And that's why we stuck with Hulu.
But all right. We're about 20 minutes into the show. Let's actually talk about the Lions now.
Talk about the Lions. All right.
So, look, obviously we're excited. I mean, oh my goodness. This is going to be a great game. And everybody, we already touched on it, right? Stafford coming back, the whole, Jared Goff revenge game. And obviously it's going to be a tough game. I mean, when you look at the Rams and you see that they won 7 out of 8, and they got some really good receivers, and they got, of course, Stafford at quarterback. Their strength seems to be our weakness. So, as far as their offense versus the defense. So ultimately, Stafford's always been good under pressure. So blitzing Stafford isn't going to the same effect that's going to have when you blitz other quarterbacks from other teams we've seen. This is going to be a tight game, and I think it could really go back and forth. And as much as I want the Lions to win, I mean, when you're trying to be objective about the whole situation, I can see, situations where the Rams come out as winners in this game.
Yeah.
So, obviously, don't want that. I'd prefer Detroit to completely blow the Rams out and just make a statement, right? Come out just like Houston did, right?
Just like Houston did today,
10 or something, right? Just blow them away. I'd love for that to happen.
Yep. So I'd like to just start kind of with the injury report.
Yeah, what you got?
Before we get into anything, right? So we got James Houston. He was a full participant in practice, but he is out for the game.
Yeah.
Jerry Jacobs, they put him on IR, I thought, right?
Yeah, he's
If
on
I,
IR.
if I saw that right. James Mitchell, tight end, he's going to be out. Khalif Raymond, who had such a fantastic game last week, is going to be out. And they've been talking about Amon St. Brown possibly returning punts. And I'm not. It's while I believe he can do that job.
Yeah,
he's been banged up a little bit through the season. That's just some hits I don't think he needs to take.
I agree with
right?
that.
So,
Yeah.
and I think the Lions know that too. Like, he's probably the emergency guy. Donovan Peoples-Jones has done it. He did it in Michigan. He's returned them at Cleveland. He has the ability. He's got he's a big body guy. I think that's the guy that we put back there. But, so we got John Kaminsky. He's questionable. Sam Laporta, big shocker, right? The great news was his knee wasn't as bad as everyone thought it looked, because that thing looked. I thought he was done, and I thought it was so bad that he was going to miss the entire next year, because I thought he shredded his ACL, MCL. I thought he was done, right? Yeah. So he was going to miss his entire second year. And when that happens, you just never know what you're going to get. I think about Jake Butt, right, coming out of Michigan, and he decided to play in that the bowl game, and he tore his knee up, and he was never quite the same when he came back, right? Yeah. And I love Jake Butt. I mean, he's doing great things with the Big Ten Network now, so he's moved on from that. But with Sam Laporta, I was very excited to hear that wasn't the case. So Brian Branch, he was full participant. These are all people that were just on the injury report. Taylor Decker, full participant. Graham Glasgow, Frank Ragnow, Cam Sutton, Jamison Williams, and Brock Wright. All those were full participants this week, so I assume all of them are going to be available to play, which is great news. On the Rams side, they got their guard, who's questionable, Note Boom, Havenstein, Dotson, their center, Brian Allen, their other tackle, Aldrich Sachs. Like, they're hurting on the front. The Rams are, as far as, but our guys that have been too. So, it's going to be who's going to show up tomorrow at 8:00, and how are we going to get it done? So,
right. Yep.
But that's the injury report. I think looking at that, we had some great things. Having Jamo back is going to be big. I think even if Laporta can get out there and spot play and is able to, give us something, even if he's just a decoy, right? Because that's going to take a linebacker or a safety is going to have to come over and take that, right? And it's going to open something underneath where maybe Jamo can come on a slant where Laporta just kind of does the fly, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just good to see that he's healthy enough that they have listed him as questionable. I don't want him to get out there and get hurt, because when we win this game tomorrow, and I'm saying we're going to win. I haven't even given my prediction, but I'm telling you we're going to win. That I'd love to have him next week when we have the divisional round.
Right.
Give him another solid week. Get him to heal, some more practice. Because I'm sure he's going to be out there with a knee brace on, so it's going to be limiting him a little bit. Because I wouldn't have gone out there without one. I've hyperextended my knee. I put a brace on there. It's a peace of mind.
Oh, he's got a big funky brace on his knee.
Yeah.
Really big. Yeah.
So, and you can't not, right? It's a stability thing, right?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, just wearing that brace makes a huge difference to your mentality. Yes, it's clunky. It's gonna slow you down a little bit. Sometimes you feel like Forrest Gump running around with them, right? But in the end, I think it's the right thing for him to have on. And if we're going to be using him that way, then let's get it done. But I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have a big game. But I don't know if it's going to be in the run game. Going up against Aaron Donald is not fun.
No.
right? He this guy's been getting it done for a long time, Aaron Donald, right? And
Yeah.
he is a force in the middle there. So Ragnow, Glasgow, these guys are going to have a tough time. You know, Decker, Sewell, they're all. I mean, it's not going to be fun for them on the front. And we all know the Lions scheme. They're going to try and run the ball, and they're going to keep trying to run the ball. Eventually, it works because we wear them down. Right?
Eventually. Right?
But we have to be able to sustain drives in order to wear down the defense because we got to be able to keep the defense on the field. But so that's, I think, as far as the Lions and their scheme, I think what they need to do, they're going to need to use the screen game. We're going to have to play fast. Use our weapons. We're going to have to spread the ball around so that the defense and the DBs don't know who we're going to go to. And I think that's going to be an important piece for us on offense. On defense, I think Aaron Glenn needs to keep doing what he's been doing for the last 5 weeks.
Agreed.
Right? And that's bringing pressure. Live and die by it, man. I'm just, it's been working for us. Let's just go for it, right? Because if Cooper Kupp he wasn't on here, so I assume he's going to play. Right? Puka Nacua, a Rookie of the Year candidate. I don't know that he's got a chance against C.J. Stroud, but he's definitely making a case for himself.
Yep.
And I just, our DBs are going to be busy, right? And our front seven's going to have to stop Kyron Williams. He's been having a fantastic second half of the year, catching the ball, running the ball. So he's kind of their Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah.
So I when you look at these two teams, like on both sides of the ball, I think we're very similar, right? We run the ball, we play action, we have the ability to get the ball deep. On defense, we play tough defense, we're stopping the run. The difference is, I think, that the secondary on the Rams is much better than our secondary. So Jared Goff is going to have to be on his game.
Well, I agree, right? Like, but what I saw with the Houston game, watching that today, is I saw a little bit of, and I know all teams do this, but again, I'm just making a point here with the Houston game specifically, is Houston was running multiple plays out of the same formations, a lot like the Lions do.
Yes.
And they got the Cleveland defense, which is one of the best defenses in the entire league. I guess you can technically say the best defense in the entire league.
It was the best defense as far as yards per game. The best.
And they was only giving up something like 140 yards per game passing on top of everything else.
Yeah.
And they gave up like 250 in the first half, to a
Correct.
rookie.
Yep.
Now, look, anybody listening to the show knows that I'm a big fan of C.J. Stroud. And I'm not trying to take anything away from the guy when I say this. But I think a lot of the play calls were exceptional. I think that offensive coordinator was called a fantastic game. Because when you've seen all the deep shots that C.J. Stroud had available, and he even missed
one.
Oh my goodness, he was wide open too.
Yeah,
right.
Like,
and just
all he had to do was put this much more air into that ball, and he would have ran right onto that and into the end zone.
But it was, I seen the scheme that really opened up a lot of the guys on offense, whether it was a tight end, wide receiver, etc.
Yeah,
it was a scheme, and they didn't have a very good running game. I think they finished the top rush was like 60 some odd yards rushing, but they did a lot of screen passes and other things, and to kind of supplement the run game to prevent the Cleveland defense from having free reign and rushing the passer. And I think that is similar to what Detroit's going to have to do tomorrow versus the Rams. Almost the exact type of game plan. Whatever Cleveland did on offense, I want Lions to do almost exactly the same there on tomorrow, because that's how you can fool the Rams.
Well, so looking at the stats for this year, the Lions and the Rams defensively are 19th and 20th in total yards per game, right? And about the same in touchdowns allowed per game or for the season, right? So when I said we're very similar, we are, right? I think our defenses, and you're right, they were during the halftime show of the Texans game, they were showing some of that, right? Where the motion was moving one way, but the play went the other direction away from the motion, right? That was all about the scheme. So it had the Browns thinking everything's going to the right, when in actuality it went back to the left, right? And then another drive, they ran the same motion, right? And instead of going away from the motion, they went with the motion because they pitched it off to Nico Collins. And it wasn't a big gain, but it was still a positive yardage. Yeah, it was still a positive gain. So running it out of the same formation, we talked about that, though, almost every week now, as far as what the Lions have been doing. And Ben Johnson's done a great job of doing that and running plays, multiple plays out of the same formation with the same motion.
The one of the things that was mentioned by us a few weeks ago is that you're going to start seeing a lot of schemes this way, because players can only get so fast and so strong. And right now, the athletes that are in the NFL are about as fast and as strong as they're going to get. So it's going to be very, very difficult for any future athletes to, as far as physically, be any better than the current athletes. So how are you going to win? How is one team going to be better than another? And all that's going to come up to is scheme and matchups.
Right.
So it's going to be football IQ. And you've seen that Karamoa, he was blowing up some plays today there for Cleveland out of Notre Dame.
This kid, it's almost like he heard the play.
Yeah, he knew exactly what was happening.
He was hitting his gaps.
So fast.
Yeah, he was in the gap and in the hole. He was, just incredibly fast.
And all that comes from, again, football knowledge. So it's from watching game film, knowing what the other team's going to be doing, seeing watching the offensive lineman, watching how everybody moves, diagnosing it quickly, and then coming up there making the play. And Karamoa did an awesome job of doing that today. But that's how you're going to win going forward. So you're going to have to disguise everything. You're going to have to come up with something to fool the defense. That's where all these so-called trick plays, like the flea flicker is a perfect example, came from. It's trying to fool. But now it seems like the offensive coordinators just realized there's other ways to fool a defense than just with something like a fake reverse or a flea flicker, or half back.
It doesn't need to be a gimmick play.
It doesn't have to be a gimmick, right?
Yep.
Just keep running, out of the same formation, multiple plays, and keep them guessing what's going on. Because all you have to do is have one person on the 11 people on the defense guess wrong, don't know what's happening, and you have something big developing. It could be a big pass, it could be a big run, whatever it's going to be. Just need one person on that defense to be wrong about what's happening, and you got something. So that's where where I think Ben Johnson's done a good job. As long as if he does go somewhere for head coaching, job, because he obviously deserves it. Let's see what happens. As long as we get someone to replace him with that same mindset, I think Lions are going to be okay.
We're going to be fine. Yep. And that's the scary thing about teams who have teams that have good coaching. Keeping those coaches, right? Right. I mean, you got to look because Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson have both got multiple interview requests, right? So that's a huge thing, right? And I know this is kind of outside of the playoff, but were you not shocked about Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel threw me off, right? Like, these are all really good coaches that teams have said, you know, and I get maybe on the backside, you're looking at Bill Belichick and you're looking at Pete Carroll, they're in their 70s, right?
Those didn't surprise me, honestly.
I, I, I was more shocked, I think, about the Pete Carroll one than I was Bill Belichick, right? Because there was a lot of talk about Bill Belichick. Scott and I talked about the Pete Carroll thing because if Jim Harbaugh was going to leave, that to me that was going to be the team that he would be the best fit for, because they run the ball, they play great defense, right? It's his kind of football. So, but anyway, I was just shocked by some of the coaching, and then I heard today, and not that he's probably going to get fired, but the Steelers coach, and I'm totally drawing Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
Right? What, 17 straight seasons or 14 straight seasons of never had a losing season.
Yeah.
Right? And I get there's a grind when you're talking about football, and you're talking about coaching. It's a year-round thing. It ages you, right? But some of these coaches, I was just shocked. The Alabama, like Nick Saban retired, and then 2 days later they already had their guy. And the Washington coach, right? But anyway, see,
yeah,
I get off on tangents because I can do that because it's our show.
Patrick Mahomes just threw a touchdown pass, FYI. So
okay,
Kansas City up 7-0.
All right.
But anyway, but yeah, look, the Lions now. Lions defensively, we talked a lot about Lions offense versus the Rams defense, right?
Yep.
So Lions defensively against the Rams offense. Again, they got two really good receivers. They got good tight end. You know, that's as far as a security blanket, right? Like he's not George Kittle or nothing, but you know, he's gonna be able to, catch a pass, and he's reliable. And they got a good ground game. And again, just like last game, I'm not worried about the ground game so much. It's not because of who the back is. I got a lot of respect for him. I just think it's more about our run defense is pretty solid. So I think for me, it's going to be more about just trying to stop the pass. How do you stop Stafford, and how do you stop the receivers that they have? That's the task.
Oh, absolutely, that's the task, right? Because Matthew Stafford has an arm.
Yeah.
Right?
And we got 4 cornerbacks. And we've seen a lot of 4-2-5 formations on defense. And from that, you're going to have to the only way you're going to beat Matthew Stafford is you're going to have to get pressure on the quarterback. That's it. Luckily for us, he's pretty statuesque. He's not going to be someone running around for a 20-yard gain.
Right.
But that's what you got to do. So doing what you mentioned earlier, disguising some blitzes, and live and die by it. Right. That ultimately that's going to be the key, is how much pressure you can put on Stafford. Hopefully Hutchinson has another 3-sack game. That'll help.
Yeah. Well, and that I was just looking at was just, Hutchinson's got 11.5 sacks this season, and 5 of them he got in the last 2 games, right? Because he went on a bit of a cold spell, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it was a little tough for him, but, I think with having McNeil back in the middle, that's a huge return, right?
Yeah.
So we're able to, and even last week, you saw Hutchinson come down and play defensive tackle. I don't know if you saw it's like they never mention it, but you have to be looking for it where he slid down and he's over, between the center guard or right over the guard, right?
Yeah.
To generate some of that pressure up the middle. Because that'll be a big thing too, coming right up the middle and not allowing Stafford to step up into the pocket.
Yeah, I think a Lee McNeil will be pretty good as far as clamps in the pocket there. As long as
I think so.
As long as he's healthy, I think he's going to do a good job with that.
Yep. So yeah, I'm excited, really excited about this game. Just not because it's been 30 years, but because I think this team has an opportunity to go deep. Right?
They do.
The
NFC is flawed.
It absolutely is, right?
Yeah.
So look, everyone thought the Eagles were going to be the team to beat. They were 10-1, and they finished 1-4.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it was. 10-1, and they finished 1-4, right? And then San Francisco stepped in. I think San Francisco is probably the most complete team, both offensively and defensively.
And the NFC.
I mean, Christian McCaffrey is just free in the NFC, right? Christian McCaffrey is having an unbelievable season. Brock Purdy is doing the things that Brock Purdy does, right?
Yeah.
Deebo Samuel. The defensive line of the San Francisco, the whole defense of San Francisco is just, they're phenomenal, right? So as far as a complete team, San Francisco is definitely there, right?
Yes.
Dallas is flawed, right? They've got their moments. We beat them at home. I don't care what anybody else says. We beat them. Yeah. They know we beat them. So when we win and they win and we got to go down there and play them, let's go.
Let's go.
Right? So they know we beat you. We beat you. But there's a lot of people that have predicted the Niners and Lions as the NFC championship game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are predicting that. Now, I definitely think they can get there, right? Honestly, I want to get a playoff win. And then whatever happens, happens, right? Everything else is just the cherry on top, right? I'd love to see a Super Bowl opportunity. But at this moment, I want a Super Bowl, or I want a playoff win. You give us a playoff win in this city to build on with the young talent that this team has moving forward. I mean, we saw what we did last year as we built that team and came together at the end of the season that carried over into this year. And you saw the team that we had going this year, even with the injuries. And now you take a playoff win and you go into next year. Watch out.
So, no, for sure. I think it's about momentum. So we're kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but when you have, because we see what happened when they carried momentum from last year into this year. They had a real good start to this year, and now going from this year to next year, regardless what happens in the playoffs, this team's going to be proud of themselves, and every player around the league is going to see that. But and again, I know we're jumping ahead, but I can almost guarantee you that we're going to be seeing some pretty big name in a cornerback coming to Detroit next year, either by draft or by free agent or by trade. It's just going to have to happen. But
well, and I was just going to say it. Free agents, guys are going to want to come play here.
Yeah.
Right? I think, and I'm taking this line from the movie Unnecessary Roughness, or Necessary Roughness. I'm sorry, Necessary Roughness. It's basic losing is over. Right? We have a team that people have to be ready for.
Yeah.
it's not just looking at your schedule. Oh, we've got Detroit, no problem.
Yeah,
that's not the case.
Game.
Yeah, that is not the case. That is not we're going to get to play our starters into the third quarter and our backups are going to clean up for us. It's not that kind of game no more. Right?
No.
We don't have that team because we don't quit. You have to play us. And you got to play us for 4 quarters now. And
so
I still don't think we've played our best game. That's the funny thing about it, right? We've played some really good games and almost real complete games, but we still have not played our best for 4 straight quarters. I think if we put our best game together for 4 straight quarters as we slide through these playoff games, watch out.
Yeah. No, we haven't played our best. We played a pretty good game in a couple games, of course, but yeah, we haven't played our best. But again, every team's flawed. Every team has bad losses, and that's something that we talked about when Lions got blown away by Baltimore, and that's something we talked about when lost to Green Bay, like every team has bad losses. But when you look at Philadelphia, Dallas, San Francisco, bad losses, but yet there's still a lot of Lions fans that look to those teams and say those teams are better than us. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, we beat Dallas, right? I mean, ultimately we did. So, but there's still a lot of people out there that think, they make excuses. The Kansas City game. Detroit went to Kansas City, beat Kansas City, but yet a lot of Detroit fans still say Detroit got lucky because of X. Hey, it doesn't matter who we beat. There's always, those people out there saying that Detroit got lucky for one reason or another. So, okay, fine. But, so why can't Detroit keep getting lucky then? If that's the case, Detroit got lucky, 12 times? 11 times?
12 times this year.
Right?
12 times.
So why can't Detroit keep getting lucky then?
Yep.
Every team has bad losses. So, hey, as long as they keep winning, I don't care what you call it.
Oh, absolutely. So looking at the playoff brackets, right? So right now they have Houston slotted in to play Baltimore. We know that's obviously can change because the 1 seed will play the lowest seed remaining. So if Miami or Pittsburgh win, then they'll end up in Baltimore, and then Houston will go down, and play somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
But that obviously has to happen. We're not going to know what that's like until Monday now because the Pittsburgh Buffalo game got moved till tomorrow. I'm sorry, till Monday because they're getting so much snow out there. I did see an article. They were asking anybody who has a snow shovel and wants to make $20 an hour to go out because they want them to get there at like 10 o'clock at night on the Saturday night, so tomorrow night, to start shoveling snow in the stadium and then through game time at 1.
Wow.
But then they it came out and they're like, you know what? It's safety purposes wise, like with that much snow, trying to get. It's one thing to get your stadium emptied, clean, so you can actually play on it. But it's another getting fans in those stands safely. So I think they did the right thing in moving that game. But right now, Detroit, you're it. I feel like Detroit's got this. I think Tampa Bay's gonna beat Philadelphia.
AJ Brown's not playing.
AJ Brown is not playing.
Yeah.
So that's a huge hurt for the Philadelphia Eagles on offense, right?
Yeah.
So I think Tampa Bay's gonna end up going into San Francisco, and Dallas. Dallas needs to be worried about Green Bay.
Yes, they do.
I think Jordan Love is going to be the real deal, right? He fought through some. He fought through some really not good part of the first part of the season.
Yeah.
But they've put some great games together here at the end of the year. And he has shown some great poise late in games to be able to bring his team back.
Yeah, yes.
So I'm excited about that game because what could happen, right? Tampa Bay wins, Detroit wins, and if Green Bay wins, unfortunately, we don't get Green Bay. Green Bay would go to San Francisco, and we'd get Tampa.
Yep.
Right? But that's a second home playoff game for us.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna take that matchup.
I take that. Like we beat them already. Now we know that's a regular season, and playoff football is different.
It is. Yeah.
They talked about that on the pregame, guys, before the Texans game. They're like, look, you're 0-0. This is playoff football. You are 0-0.
Yep.
So, and if anybody knows that it's different, it would be the Patriots. They're 18-1 season.
Yeah, that's painful.
Right? That is extremely painful, right?
Yeah.
So, in the end, that's what I'm hoping for. I think Tampa's going to win. I think we're going to win. And I think Green Bay's going to win on the NFC side.
I can't argue with that, man. I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah. And Buffalo is a team I wouldn't want to mess with right now. So I'm going to go with Buffalo. And I'd really like to see Miami shut everybody up about not being able to win a game below 45 degrees.
I just want to see Kansas City get knocked out. I don't care who does it. Just somebody knock Kansas City out.
Right. And even if it's not and Kansas City wins, that means Kansas City's got to go to Buffalo and play in Buffalo. And I don't think that they're ready to do that. So I'm going to take Miami and I'm going to take Buffalo. And Detroit is going to beat the Rams. It's going to be 32-28.
All right. I mean, look, I like everything that you said, but if I'm being unbiased, right? Because my bias will tell me to select Miami because I don't want the Chiefs to win.
Right,
but,
right.
I do think the Chiefs are going to win that game, and it's mainly just because, as much as I hate hearing it, I do believe it's true. The Dolphins cannot win a game in cold weather. They haven't done it. If the game time, if the weather at the start of game time is less than 40 degrees, they have not won. So, no. I mean, I'm a statistical person. Like I love
the numbers don't lie.
And
the numbers are there.
For that scenario, like I'm gonna have to go with the Chiefs for that. And I know right now the quarter runs almost over, and the Chiefs are winning 7-0. But I'm just saying, like I do think the Chiefs will win that one. I was glad the Texans won because again, being a big CJ Stroud fan, I wanted Texans to win.
And you got to know, as Michigan fans, it was hard to root for this guy, right? But I love CJ Stroud. If I would get a CJ Stroud Texans jersey, everybody, Texans jersey.
Yeah, not the OSU,
not that other team in Ohio. All right, but I would get a CJ Stroud, and I love that the Ohio State, the Michigan connection, Stroud to Collins.
Yeah,
it's been fantastic the last few weeks to watch.
I think you're right on with the Packers. I think you're right on with the Steelers. Stand no chance with the Bills. I don't think. I don't know. I just don't see how.
Yeah, I feel like the Steelers backdoored into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right. And I love Mike Tomlin. I've always loved Mike Tomlin as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because he never says anything except for what we've done on the field. Right. That's what we do. Right. And even when it's been bad. They don't have it. They don't have a Mason Rudolph is not the quarterback to take them to the promised land.
No. And speaking of that, quarterbacks, the Browns, you got to give them all the credit in the world. Going through 5 quarterbacks this season, making the playoffs, and beating the
Yeah.
teams they beat.
Yeah.
I know a lot of it was with the defense, but it's not as if Flacco didn't play, well.
Yeah. He was throwing 300-yard games. He had 4 of them.
Yeah.
He had another one today. And a loss.
Well, the 2 pick sixes definitely contributed.
The 2 pick sixes didn't help.
But anyway, so I like everything you said as far as your predictions go, but I will take the Chiefs. The Packers Cowboys, that game is so tough for me because I don't want either team to win. I wish somehow both teams could lose. I don't want to end in
a tie and neither team makes it. Yeah.
I hate both those teams. I hate the Packers because how do they keep getting franchise quarterbacks? We thought with Aaron Rodgers leaving, it's like finally they get the scrub named Jordan Love, right? And here he is just like playing lights out.
Yeah,
Man, the Packers
playing like
he's been nuts.
Yeah, it sucks.
And the Cowboys, I can't stand them Cowboys. I hate the Cowboys. If there's a team in the NFL that I just cannot stand, it's the Cowboys. I hate the Cowboys more than any other team. So how can I possibly pick a team between the Packers and the Cowboys? I don't know.
Yep.
I hate them both. And but I gotta go with the Packers just because I hate the Cowboys more than the Packers.
Well, I was thinking about let's go NFC North. So
yeah, dude,
having two teams from the NFC North in the divisional round, I think that's a pretty cool idea.
I see that. I mean, I get where you're coming from, but
yeah,
it's the Packers.
I can't pick the Cowboys.
I can't pick the Cowboys.
No.
It's like so. I want the Chiefs to lose, and I want the Cowboys to lose.
Yep.
And I want the Lions to win. That's basically what I want.
That's what you want.
After that, like whatever.
Yep. Come Monday night at 11:30ish, when all the games are done, we will be happy with the Lions win, a Chiefs loss, and a Cowboys loss.
Yes. Yep.
So.
But anyways, man, we keep it off track. All right. So your player people. All right. What
players?
Yeah.
Well, I already said Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have a big game, but I said he was going to have a big game more in the passing game than he was going to be in the rush game.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he has a touchdown running the ball and passing and catching the ball. So.
All right. Look, I want to go Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's who I want to go with. But again, Amon-Ra St. Brown is so rock steady that it's almost like a cheat to pick Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah.
Because I think he's good.
First team All Pro Amon-Ra St. Brown.
That's awesome.
So congratulations, Mr. Brown, Mr. St. Brown, because you got snubbed from the Pro Bowl, but to me, being named first team All Pro, they name 11 players. It's 11 players that they name, and you're one of them. Congratulations.
Yeah, much bigger honor. I'm Ross St. Brown. I've said it time and time again. He's uncoverable. You can't take him away. He's going to be open. He's going to catch the ball. He's going to get his yards. And I think tomorrow he's going to have 120 yards receiving, a touchdown. I think he's just going to go off and have another big game. But so I could pick Amon-Ra St. Brown because of what I think he's going to do. But I'm going to go a different route. I'm going to pick Jamison Williams.
Okay. So I picked him a couple of weeks ago. All right.
Here's what I think is going to happen with Jamison Williams. He's going to get the ball about 8 times. He's going to have between passes and rushes. He's going to touch the ball 8 times. And one of those touches is going to go the distance. I don't know if it's going to be a 30-yarder, 50-yarder, 80-yarder. I don't know what it's going to be. But one of those, he's going to get it, and he's just going to go. And that's just going to be a touchdown. And it's going to be a moment in the game, where Lions might be down, they might be tied, but you kind of feel the momentum change, right? You can kind of feel it go towards the Rams side, and then they're going to call up a Jameson Williams play, and that's when the big play is going to happen.
Yep.
So,
all right. Well, you let me go first on offense. I'm going to let you go first on defense.
So, if the Lions are going to win, it's going to have to be the defensive line is disruptive. And yeah, Aiden Hutchinson's a logical pick here, but I'm going to go with my big man. I picked him before and he came through for me. He's going to come through again. Aleem McNeil is going to have one heck of a game. He's going to have a couple tackles for a loss. He's going to claw up the middle. He's even going to have a sack, possibly a fumble recovery when Aiden Hutchinson hits the quarterback, strips the ball, and Aleem McNeil falls on it. I'm telling you, Aleem McNeil is going to show up big in this game.
Yeah. Well, because Aleem McNeil is going to get so much pressure on the quarterback, my guy, Malafamu, is going to pick that ball off and run it back for a pick six.
All right.
So I'm taking Iffy.
You're going to take Iffy.
I'm taking Iffy.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
Because not only does he play well in the deep, but he blitzes off from blitzes from back there. He's big in our run game. The guy's been good for us. So that's what I'm taking.
He's been our best safety, honestly.
Yeah.
Most
consistent.
Yeah, and the PFF scores, rated out. He's been our best coverage safety. He's been our best run safety. He's been the big play guy. He's been our best safety.
I think our best guys need to come out and have their best games.
Yeah, because just for those that didn't watch that show, the defensive players that had the highest rating according to PFF is Aiden Hutchinson, Aleem McNeil, Anzalone, and Iffy.
Yep.
So those are the guys that's going to have to make the difference. Yep.
They're going to be our difference makers. And, Anzalone is our leading tackler. He's going to have another great game, but I'm telling you, if he's coming at number 9. He's coming to get number 9.
All right. Well,
I don't want Stafford hurt, but he's coming after you, Matt.
You want him hit.
And I'm not and right now I don't feel real bad that he's coming after you because I need him to come after you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do think the Lions are going to come victorious in this one. I think Ford Field's going to be rocking. I don't think that I think Ford Field's going to cause a couple penalties as far as false starts. They're going to have to take a couple timeouts because I don't think they're going to be able to get the play call in. I don't think there's going to be a stadium in the NFL that's going to be louder than Ford Field tomorrow. I just think that the fans are they've been craving this, wanting this, and they're going to show up big. So
yeah, they are.
As because of that reason, I think the fans play a big role in this game, and 12th man gets redesignated to Ford Field tomorrow. I think that's what happens. And so I think Lions come out of this one. I think it's going to be a little bit of a shootout. I'm not talking big scores, but it's not going to be less than 20 points here. So I think Lions score over 30. I think they're going to get 31 points, 32 points, right around there. Less than 34 anyways. Somewhere between 30 and 33 I think Lions will get. And I think the Rams, it'll be a big day by Stafford, big day by the receivers, but they're going to come up short. So I'm going to call it something along the lines of 32-28.
That's right. That's what I called.
Did you?
I did. That's the first time this year we've had the same score. Now, don't change it.
Are you serious?
Don't take a different.
Is that really what you just said?
I said exactly 32-28.
Okay, well, this was not planned, honestly, but
it was not. We don't talk about who we're taking in points. Not at all. Nope. That's the score.
I'm gonna have to listen to this back. I'm gonna have to listen to it. All right.
Look, because you were already calling a score. I'm like, well, that's like right. That's the number I called. He's like, yeah, let's get it.
Now, the freaky thing is if that actually happened.
If that happens, that's what we want.
A lotto ticket.
Right? At that moment, then we're gonna pick the same numbers though, by the way, brother. We gotta pick the same.
We gotta pick the same.
Gotta pick the same. Well, all right, everybody. We appreciate you hanging out with us because we're probably about 10 minutes longer than we typically are at this moment.
Even longer.
But anyway, yeah, I took over the first 20 minutes of this show. I got on my soapbox, and it is what it is.
Right.
But I love all of you. Stay warm out there, Michigan. And we'll be talking to you soon on a Lions victory Sunday.
Are we going to do a live stream for the game?
If yes. Now, live stream, I don't know. I want to. Yes, let's do it.
Okay, you hurt.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my blood pressure cuff down here, and I'll start taking my blood pressure readings, so everyone can understand where I go when it come game time.
So we got to put out some advertisements as well. Let's see what we can do. Right.
Yep.
You watch the game, listen to us. That's what you want to do.
That's it. Don't listen to the announcers. We call these games way better.
They're idiots. We all know that, right?
That's right.
All
right, brother.
Yeah. Appreciate everybody listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
Absolutely. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for listening to No Pads Sports Talk. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, help spread the word by leaving a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on social media at No Pads Sports Talk.